I watched Shark Lake today, so that means that you now have to hear about it. Have you ever wanted to see a Dolph Lundgren shark movie that had very little Dolph Lundgren and even less in the way of sharks? If so, then Shark Lake is the movie for you. Directed by Jerry Dugan, Shark Lake is a 2015 film that epitomizes the idea that just because a film is indie, that doesn't mean it's an underrated, slept-on, hidden gem. This film certainly isn't. In fact, I would say that this film should stay hidden at all costs. The movie begins with some very nice shots of the area surrounding Lake Tahoe, USA. We get to see the mountains, forests, and the lake itself, which ordinarily would be quite enjoyable to observe. However, Shark Lake doesn't even manage to pull this off. The cuts and fades between different shots are in turns rapid and jarring, and then you get others which seem to go on forever. The feeling you get from this is that it was filmed by a guy who was taking his brand new drone out for the very first time and was really just playing about with the record feature to see how it all works. This, coupled with an audio track that sounds like a reject from an action movie made in 1996, and the general aesthetic of the film you're about to watch becomes quite apparent, and that aesthetic is cheap and tacky. After the opening, we come to two police officers who are in the woods at night and heading towards an isolated cabin in the woods. It looks like they're there to take down a serious bad guy, but yeah, let's just send two cops, I'm sure that'll suffice. They make their way into the cabin and what they see is apparently really shocking to them. Did they not actually know why they were going there? What they see is lots of animals, exotic ones like snakes and caiman. Someone has quite a collection here. There's also a little girl. It's then that all of a sudden a van outside has started up and is now speeding away. The police give chase and the cinematography here isn't much better than the opening because I could have sworn that at one point during the car chase the camera actually falls over. Look at this bit here. It looks like the cameraman's tripped over a rock or something and the camera just falls to the ground. Eventually the van crashes into a lake and we see that Dolph Lundgren has exited and is trying to make his escape, and a silhouette of a shark behind him quickly swims out of view. So I guess Dolph Lundgren was transporting a big shark in the van he was driving? Why didn't we get to see that scene? Seeing him single-handedly wrestling with a massive shark and throwing it into the back of a van would have definitely made this film actually worth seeing. And what kind of apparatus was back there for the shark's comfort anyway? Was it sat in an inflatable pool of water set up in there, or did Dolph Lundgren literally just open the back doors of the van and throw it in? I really wish we could have found out. He's eventually apprehended by the police and it turns out the little girl is his daughter, who, bizarrely, is adopted by one of the police officers who arrested him. Is that legal? That's weird, right? I really doubt that would be allowed. Or would it? No, I'm sure it's fine. There's no conflict of interest there or anything. Anyway, 5 years later, he's out of prison and this officer Hernandez is doing everything she can to prevent him from seeing his daughter. Can she do that? We then get a really random beach scene with lots of teens playing volleyball in slow-mo, accompanied by music that sounds like it was composed by the director's 12-year-old nephew on his laptop. And then, well, nothing. Nothing happens here. It instead takes us really far away from all that, to the woods where an older couple are walking towards the edge of the lake to look for gold. The woman then leaves to get her iPad, and this is where the first shark attack happens as her husband is knee-deep in the water. She then runs back after hearing him scream in agony, and we're treated to this Oscar-worthy performance.
No!
Magnificent. The police arrive and because there aren't supposed to be any sharks in Lake Tahoe, they assume it's a bear that killed the old man. But Officer Hernandez has her doubts. She then takes her adopted daughter to a diner where she meets a genius ichthyologist called Lewis who asks if she's a cop, seemingly in absolute earnest, while she's literally sat there in a police uniform. They talk for a bit and you know he's going to be turning up later on to help out. We're then treated to yet another beach scene with lots of teens dancing around while yet more music by the director's 12-year-old nephew plays. These scenes seem to be director Jerry Dugan's method of choice for padding out the film. You have to reach that hour-and-a-half runtime somehow, I guess. Two teens then leave and go into the water so that the film can engage in an age-old trope of if you engage in hanky-panky, you're going to get killed. An unseen shark then gets the boy and we're treated to a shot of some water with a red filter put over it. They didn't even have room in the budget for fake blood. By this point, I really cannot wait to see what the CGI on the shark is like. It's after this incident that we meet possibly the absolute worst character in the film, Gareth Ross, the English, quote-unquote English, host of some trashy shark reality show on the BBC? Look, the BBC makes nothing but absolute garbage these days, sure, but they don't make trashy reality TV shows. That's Channel 4. The BBC makes trash, yes, but it's a different kind of trash altogether. He's played by an American actor, which I knew the second he opened his mouth. I thought, there is absolutely no way that this guy's from England. His accent is atrocious, absolutely awful.
Interviews with concerned citizenry, add a little and catch the bastard and be out of your knickers by nightfall.
Catch the bastard and be out of your knickers by nightfall. For God's sake. And by the way, by this point we're 41 minutes into the film and we still haven't properly seen any sharks. We've seen a silhouette, we've seen a brief glimpse where it jumps out of the water and bites a parasailing woman's leg off, but that's about it. We've also hardly seen anything of Dolph Lundgren for a while either, because guess what? This film isn't about Dolph Lundgren's character at all. It's about this Officer Hernandez. That's right, this whole film is pretty much a bait and switch. The American guy trying to sound English is killed when he dives into the water to obtain footage for his BBC show, Fish Fright, or something equally idiotic, and it's then revealed, when we do finally see a shark at around the 47-minute mark, that there are actually 3 sharks. They're bull sharks, and it turns out that the one that escaped into the lake was pregnant, and for some reason her 2 pups are still trailing along after her, because that's definitely what bull sharks do. And of course, because this is Shark Lake, the sharks all look absolutely awful. If The Last Breath had PS2 graphics bull sharks, then Shark Lake has PS1 graphics bull sharks. The music in this scene is some of the cheesiest I've ever heard. I think the score for Shark Lake can be summed up by saying it's a combination of 90s action movie rejects, music made on a laptop by a Fortnite-playing child, and free orchestral style music taken from YouTube Creator Studio. We're then forced to endure further tedium, like the boring subplot about Dolph Lundgren's character's daughter sneaking out to go and see him. They end up on a boat because some mob boss who initially paid him to get the shark for his illegal collection still wants it and will kill his whole family if he doesn't get it for him, and eventually he ends up meeting up with Officer Hernandez, who is looking for the little girl. It's honestly quite difficult to recall a lot of what happens because it's just so dull and unengaging. It just makes you wonder who this kind of movie is actually for, and who it's made by. I seriously can't picture anybody working on a film like Shark Lake and thinking, yes, this is my passion project. This is why I got into the movie business. I mean, I understand that it'll make a small amount of money from, I don't know, DVD sales, advertising from TV or streaming services, but the whole endeavour just seems like a pointless one at the end of the day. And the only question I'm left with after watching Shark Lake is, why? The thing that really sucks though is that I feel like Shark Lake could have been an extremely interesting film. It already had the star power in the form of Dolph Lundgren, and the premise is quite a unique one. An illegal animal smuggler stashes a powerful client's bull shark in Lake Tahoe for safekeeping while he does 5 years in prison. If this was well executed, it could have wound up being an absolute classic with its own cult following. It could have been highly respected as a genre movie and one that is fondly remembered. But this film sadly won't be remembered because it's as dull as Skegness seawater, the acting from most of the cast is laughable, and the visual effects look like they were done by the bloke who sweeps up. I will rate this film a 2 out of 10. It's not so bad it's good, like Attack of the Meth Gator. It's just bad. Anyway, thanks for watching my review of Shark Lake. I hope you found it informative. Please remember to like this video as it helps with the algorithm. Also feel free to comment and share it around, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks for checking out Jaws World. Take care. Bye bye.